Good morning. I'm Danny Black from Hobby News Daily, and part of our new special series called the Hot Corner. I'm joined by Dr. James Beckett from Sports Card Insights. And Dr. Beckett, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Danny. Thanks for doing this. A beautiful morning.
Absolutely. And thanks for being our first guest on the Hot Corner here. The Hot Corner, for those of you who are not familiar, is third base, position number 5 if you score in your scorebooks. So that leads us to 5 questions with our guest. Feel free to elaborate, and I will absolutely not be able to limit it to 5 questions, so there will be follow ups. Does that sound typical?
It's the way I do it, Danny. It's they're rules. They're not laws.
Exactly. I keep trying to explain to my wife that, and yet somehow I'm still doing carpool at 10:30 at night. So, first question, I would love to know because this was a little bit of a surprise to me when I got to know you a while ago. Where did you grow up?
I lived in 18 houses in my first 18 years of life, and so I moved around a lot. My dad was in the military, and he had a corporate career, and he did great. But when your dad gets promoted, that means a new school, new house. So I went to a lot of different schools. And again, part of this that's woven into my story is that every time I changed neighborhoods, there were always card collectors there.
Who did that leave as the team you rooted for?
I spent most of those years in the vicinity of Pittsburgh.
Okay. So I know you're a Honus Wagner fan, and we've had this conversation. So I'd like to say that I did a little bit of research after the last time you and I talked, and he may be the most underrated shortstop of all time, even with his notoriety. So a little follow up on our previous conversation.
There'd been nobody like him.
Unbelievable. I,
At that point, they didn't even, a lot of those teams in those days, put the best player at shortstop. That was a very, being strong up the middle. But he was just not a freak, but I mean, he had huge hands, but he was fast, but he was hulking. Just it didn't make a lot of sense. But he just was a one of one.
he certainly did not have the same body type as Ozzie Smith.
No backflips for Hannes.
um, okay, did you play sports growing up? If so, which ones?
I played every sport growing up, but more competitively in tennis. So I played a lot of tennis tournaments growing up. That was probably my number one sport. That's the sport I mainly played in high school and didn't really carry on. I went out for the team when I was a freshman in college, and I wasn't going to get to play much. So I wasn't a bad player, but I wasn't good enough. But again, in the hobby, that fuels your desire. If you have enough taste, I played enough baseball and football and basketball to appreciate the artistry as well as the plays and the skill of the stars.
Well, we live in a small hobby world where no secrets stay hidden too long. Rumor has it you were not a bad pickup basketball player in the day. Any truth to that?
Well, the way you put it, that I was not bad, that's probably I'll accept that because I was not good, but
Okay.
I was a great teammate because I passed a lot more than I shot. I set a lot of picks, played a lot of defense, always got back. I hustled, um, so yeah, not bad is better than good
Okay.
or more
I have to check
more
my scouting
appropriate.
reports.
More appropriate.
Yeah, no, I got to check
And we
sources and scouting
we had
reports.
our in our company we had a lunch league, of all the employees. We had lots of, and we had gals too, but we had some pretty stout, really good players, the gals. So it was mostly guys, but and it was choose up teams or leagues and things like that. So we did that, and I played with the guys, and it was just, again, I was not bad, but I wasn't that good. So and it's tough being the boss when you're playing in a pickup game and they defer to you. They don't guard you as closely, except for the new guy.
And all the pressure to hit the open jumper.
Well, when you go up for your jumper and they back off, it's usually they're going to poke at you or do something to disturb you, but it was like, oh, step back. That's more unnerving, I think.
I gotta ask because I was a diehard rec basketball player for my teenage years, But my vertical, let's say, was limited. I could get to the big loop right under the rim on the net. I never could quite get the rim when I jumped. How high could you get?
I could dunk a golf ball.
Oh, okay.
But I think the only place I could ever do that, I think they've since measured it, and it was a couple inches short.
Was this part of
And
the home court advantage?
this was at SMU. And they had some kind of springy boards, so it's where everybody went to do their dunks.
Okay, well, that humbled me quickly. I was hoping we'd have a mutual understanding there, but
Well, I wasn't a quick leaper. I was more of a slower leaper, and so I get rebounds because the other guy was coming down when I was still going up. I wasn't going up that high, but I was, yeah. And so it's basketball's is a crafty game. You got to figure out what your niche is, what you're good at, and how you can contribute.
what would be a card you would associate with your childhood?
Well, the first card I ever got, the Spook Jacobs card, I think I got that and I just put it away because it wasn't any great play or anything. But I distinctly remember that was my first card. After that, it would be any of the Clementes. I mean, I was in Pittsburgh during those days, and any of the Clementes, and it would have been more highly esteemed in our neighborhood than Mantle or anybody. And this is in the late '50s, mid late '50s.
Is there something in the hobby that you've done that you're proud of that you would share?
Well, bootstrapping the price guides, I think that was that's my original claim to fame. Doing the surveys, doing the books, doing the magazines, and getting it to a point where I could bring in some teammates, much as what you're doing with Hobby News Daily. Is that you got to have the vision, but then you've got to get it going. You've got to incorporate the right people and keep it on track. And very blessed so that's probably my legacy. And BGS, I'm proud of BGS, but that came much later.
Is there something someone else has done in the hobby? Anything from Piedmont and Jefferson Burdick up to today that has really impressed you, or you said, "Huh, what a fantastic idea."
Well, Burdick, I mean, we all stand on his shoulders with the
Sure.
American card catalog, just to being able to categorize cards and know that the hobby is much bigger than what anybody can do. But he was great, and I've done tributes to some of the great guys that have gone before. But currently, any of these entrepreneurial types that get in and have vision and are not dreamers because they help make it happen. I admire that kind of entrepreneurship. That's not a dreamer, but a doer.
Dr. James Beckett, you are off the hot corner. Thank you very much for joining me.
That was hot. Okay.
I'm a very, very aggressive interviewer. So I want to thank you for your time, and I'm sure you and I will be speaking again shortly.
Thanks, Danny.
Take care.
Having fun.